Welcome to episode 52 of the Loane Hockey Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about surfing for defensemen. So, when talking about surfing, we know surfing is a very intriguing tactic that's utilized within modern day defensemen to not only gap up, be able to close gaps, and also be able to understand how to close space in a timely way. So, when defending line rush scenarios, this is really prevalent for defensemen to be able to utilize this skill and to be able to time it so effectively. And you see a lot of defensemen using line rush abilities, line rush defensive abilities, where they're able to surf the play down and they're able to close space down utilizing surfing. So, what surfing is, it's a technique where player utilize his or her stick to angle around the puck. So they jump up to the line and they surf around. So they create like a U shape around. So they skate in a U shape and then they skate and they maintain moving forward where they skate, they move forward, and they're utilizing their stick and their positioning to be able to close space down rather than relying on skating backwards. So it's a really effective tactic, and it's more effective than skating backwards because skating backwards, it can be hard to gap up to those players sometimes, especially speedy players and players who have speed differential in their favor. So with surfing, it allows players to be able to cut the play off to their advantage and be able to have leverage in their favor. So if a player is attacking on the outside in the perimeter of the ice through the neutral zone, then this gives the defenseman an opportunity to step up and utilize the surfing technique, be able to be active with the line. One of the players who was really active of his time, really was key at doing it for so long, was Duncan Keith in Chicago. And even throughout the 2010s, you notice the consistency within his surfing habits and the details that he would continue to execute within those surfing habits. So his footwork was always aligned. So his toe caps were always above. They were always pointed towards the boards. So it gave him opportunity. And he wasn't able to get drawn out of position usually because of the control of his stick, the control of his body. He wasn't slipping too far in terms of his reach in his body and his stick. So he wasn't poking at the puck. He wasn't looking to jab the puck away. He was looking to rely solely on positioning and actual positioning habits to be able to close the play down. And he wasn't using too much excess energy to try and shut the play down. And obviously doing all that while skating forwards at the same time. So if you were able to strip a puck, what he could do is he could retrieve the puck quickly on his forehand and continue his route skating forward and skate backwards to be able to create some separation space, maintain possession with the puck, and then if he wanted to, he could pivot and pass D to D, or he could pivot and stay stationary to wait for a reload sequence. But Duncan Keith was a really good example of doing it. And there were so many plays against so many different teams, even the regular season and the playoffs, where he shut plays down on line rush so seamlessly because of his ability to skate forward, step up on the line, be able to be active with his stick in his body, shut play down, and be able to control possession in that manner. So again, he didn't have to use too much physicality or excess energy. He used physicality when he had to, but he relied more on that surfing technique to be able to cut the play off and be able to try to defend stick on puck. And so with Duncan Keith, he's a really good example. Modern day examples, you see a lot more players doing it, especially. There's Cale Makar, there's Quinn Hughes, there's Roman Yossi, there's Victor Hedman, there's Luke Hughes. There's so many other defensemen in the league nowadays who utilize surfing as a staple in their game, and it's a staple among defensemen nowadays to create efficient defense and efficient not only line rush defense, but defense holding the line. So not allowing easy entries, not allowing easy gaps, and being controlled with how they attack and how they shut plays down. So this was a very effective skill for them to utilize, and surfing is a skill that continues to be emphasized in the modern day. Roman Yossi does a really good job using body control and using lateral shiftness. So if you were to evade a check with the puck, or if you were to retrieve the puck, he would do a really good job of being able to retrieve it, and then he can sidestep a guy moving laterally very quickly and be able to explode into that space. Victor Hedman, his separating skill when it comes to surfing is his reach and his size and his ability to maintain a gap from a further amount of distance. Another really good example who's similar to Hedman in this realm is Owen Power out of Buffalo. Rasmus Dahlin is another really good example when it comes to angling and specifically surfing. And there's other defensemen in the league. Mackenzie Weegar, Calgary. There's who else is there? There's many more. And there's Gustav Forsling's a really good one on Florida in terms of how he's able to utilize angles and how he's able to utilize his surfing to close ice, shut plays off. He's really good at closing plays with his skating more than anything else. And he's very efficient with his feet and his footwork. So that's a big separator for Forsling. Leaguer's really good with his timing elements and his stick. Again, Victor Hedman and Owen Power, what I really like about those two is their reach, their size, their gap. They can control gaps from a further distance than most because they're both 6'6". And Owen Power has been learning how to surf ever since he was with Chicago Steel. They teach a surfing style system on line rush against for their defensemen. So with Owen Power, he's so basically wired ever since his junior days to be able to be a guy who can angle the playoff and utilize surfing on line rush sequences and defending the line and holding the line. So Owen Power is a really intriguing example in the modern day. And what I like about Owen too, I like his body positioning elements. So he really relies on body position if he's able to retrieve the puck to be able to get the first contact and be able to create separation space when he has the puck on his stick. So when he retrieves the puck on his stick, he's able to get to a new space a little bit faster. And he's kind of acts like a bit of a rover in terms of how he's able to process space and how he's able to attack those spaces. So Luke Hughes, really smart with his feet, really smart with his stick, really smart with his brain. So he has three elements there. And similar to his brother Quinn, Quinn's a little bit more advanced because Quinn has a little bit more slipperiness and deception using his lateral mobility. And Luke has a little bit more ranginess because he's a little bigger than Quinn, but pretty similar stylistically in terms of how they angle and surf. So there's a lot of modern day defensemen who use this tactic, and it's so well known. Even in the recent draft class, David Reinbacher can do it. Artem Levshunov, who was drafted second overall by Chicago this year, he was doing it a lot, not only in Michigan State, but with Green Bay. And he was so efficient with it in his junior day with Green Bay. He played one season in Green Bay. But with Levshunov, he was so skilled at being able to use his body and use it with control. And he was able to step up at the line in a timely way as well. It was a lot of hockey sense elements based for him. So that was really key in terms of Levshunov's style and how he's able to approach surfing tactics. So you see a lot of these modern day defensemen utilizing this. It's no surprise, and it's no surprise that they've continued to embrace this. And we see a lot of modern day tactics based on more so body position, getting first contact, and understanding how to maneuver in small areas. So if players have body position advantages, if they have angular advantages, they're going to have advantages in little tactics like surfing as well. So even forwards can learn this because you even see forwards who are skilled at being able to do this. And it's not just defensemen, but a lot of forwards can do this in terms of how they approach the forecheck, for example, not only in the neutral zone, but in the O zone, and how they can use it to cut plays off, cut ice in half, and try to limit the opponent's space and keep them to the outside. You think of a forecheck that's really well nuanced in this sense. It's Colorado, and Artturi Lekkonen's really good at it. And there's a couple players on Colorado that are really good at forechecking and being able to surf at the same time. A lot of it's based on speed and differential in terms of speed as well. So being able to have differentials in speed can really gain advantages for the player to try and close when they're surfing the play down. And so if they surf the play down a little bit faster, then they're going to have less time to get to the puck, which is a good thing. And they ideally in those situations, they want to be able to close as fast as they can and as efficient as possible. So efficient meaning stick on puck, trying to conserve energy. So if you're using physicality and trying to create a 50-50, a lot of energy is going to go away and it could be well utilized more so with a stick on puck or a stick lift or something along those lines. depending on how the player is able to approach it and if they're able to get that leverage in that sense, anyways. So we know a lot of forwards are skilled at doing this, but the defensemen in particular, they do it the most because it's more ingrained in them. It's more ingrained in their style, and they're more stylistically inclined nowadays to be taught to defend skating forward rather than skating backwards. So this allows them to be a little bit more efficient in terms of their approach to the game, their mindset, and how they're able to actually defend sequences as well. So there's a lot of nuance in terms of how this strategy can be approached for many different teams. Like I said, it can be approached on the forecheck, it can be approached in the neutral zone forecheck, it can be approached for defensemen specifically, and so many other things as well.